What's up, my brother? I want to respond to your video where you're talking about Malcolm X, and you're talking about the Nation of Islam, and you're criticizing Malcolm X for leaving the Nation of Islam, and you basically made a sweeping generalization that Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam because he discovered that Elijah Muhammad was having affairs with young girls, or getting young girls pregnant, and he couldn't stomach that. But I submit to you that that wasn't the reason why Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam. You have to remember that before Malcolm X joined the Nation of Islam, it really wasn't the organization that it was until Malcolm X came on scene. Malcolm X is what brought the Nation of Islam to the spotlight, because Malcolm X was like the poster boy or the poster child for what the Nation of Islam can do as far as turning around a street hustler or a pimp, and the way he turned around drug dealers and whores and stuff and prostitutes and made them productive citizens. And that's good. And Malcolm X was like an example of that. But Malcolm X was a very intelligent and articulate person who was recognized nationally and internationally, and he was a force to be reckoned with. Before Malcolm X came on scene, you didn't have Elijah Muhammad doing debates on television. You have to understand, Malcolm X was old when the Nation of Islam was established, and you really didn't have the TV, or you really didn't have the radio media, and you really didn't have the turbulent times or the changes that were taking place in America. So Malcolm X came along at the right time, where you had television, where you had radio, and you had um, the atmosphere um, that was begging and crying out for change. So this brought Malcolm X into the spotlight, and when it did, leaders began, other ministers and leaders began to get jealous, not just our Christian leaders or our pastors or our so-called chosen leaders, but there were leaders and ministers within the Nation of Islam that got jealous of Malcolm X, which created a lot of tension and a lot of friction. Now, the Nation of Islam did a lot of good. It was a black nationalistic organization that taught self-empowerment. They built a couple of schools. They built some bakeries. They built some hospitals, and they were able to excuse me, turn around heroin addicts and drug addicts, and turn pimps and prostitutes and street hustlers around, and make them respectable citizens. And at the same time, they taught us some of our history, and they also taught separation, getting a piece of land of our own, and saying that the only way that we would be free in this system is to separate. But they also taught that the black man was God, and they taught their own form of Islam. But I say to you, the reason why the Honorable Elijah Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam was not that he couldn't stomach Elijah Muhammad's behavior with these young girls. It was because when he went to Mecca, he had a spiritual transformation, because he realized that after being taught so much that the white man was the devil, or that any man was the devil, that you had people of all races practicing Islam, and they were treating Malcolm as a brother regardless of the color of his skin. In other words, you had white Muslims, you had Arab Muslims, you probably had Chinese Muslims, you had all different types of Muslims of every race, and everybody loved one another as if they were brothers. So he realized that we're all part of one human family. And um, that's what that's one of the main reasons why he left, because he realized that there was a major error in the teachings of Elijah Muhammad from his point of view. Now, another thing that I like to say about the Nation of Islam, and I'm not saying the Nation of Islam is bad or anything like that, but for the amount of time that they've been around and the amount of credit that people are giving the organization and not taking away from the good things that they did, if you look at the condition of our people, you really can't say that it was a successful organization or that the Nation of Islam was a success, because our people are no different than they were before the Nation of Islam started. We still have the black on black crime. We still have major drug problems in our communities. We still have major high school dropouts. We still have major teenage pregnancy. We still have major dysfunctional families, or families where the father have not, stayed with the mother. So we still don't own our own. We don't own supermarkets. Yeah, I mean, what's owned in one hospital? We don't own supermarkets. We don't own hospitals. We don't have our own colleges. You can't. The black colleges that you see are funded by whites. So we have nothing. So from that standpoint, the Nation of Islam, the credit that you give them, you know, they haven't really done that much. Now, if you were to look at other groups of people that's been in on the same economic ladder rung that we have been in, they come here and within 5 years or 10 years, they establish their own communities, their own hospitals, their own schools, their own supermarkets, and so forth. In other words, every other nationality comes into our community and they sell to us. And we we're basically consumers. Everybody else are investors. They're like leeches. Maybe I should not use the word leeches, but everyone profits off of us. Everyone sells us. We don't sell to anyone. They sell us stuff. And they notice the Koreans come here and sell us the hair. We're the major buyers of the hair. The Chinese people come and sell us sell us chicken. You know, we let them come into our communities to sell us Chinese food. We let them come into our communities and sell us liquor. Let them come into the communities and sell us. Well, they don't come into the communities and sell us the hair products, but they're out there. And the Nation of Islam, they got their own hair products. They got their own bakery or their bean pies. I mean, we don't even have a bean pie factory. So you can't criticize Malcolm X. If anything, a second look needs to be taken at the Nation of Islam. Peace.